Yo, what's up, everyone? What's going on? Welcome to Sports Talk Show. I'm Aaron, aka Head the Table. You already know me here on any episode. I talk about Texan, anything Houston related, especially U of H with how they're winning March Madness going on. But today we have a special episode talking about Texas draft talk with our mock drafts and everything. But I want to just shout out my guest, who I'm grateful that joined us today, and that's my boy Spitz right here. And Spitz, and just thank you, man.
What's up, man? What's good, everybody out there, man? Hey, we about to talk some good Texas football, get into this draft talk, and try to build this team and get this team ready to compete for an NFL championship. So, hey, glad to be on here.
Hell yeah, thank you. Yeah, and for me, I was going over every mock draft, who I could get, and every mock draft I was making, I didn't make no trades, but I know Nick Casario will make a trade no matter
Right.
wherever. But yeah, I made it with no trades, and I was going back and forth with who I want, especially with signing like Trent Brown, who and Cam Robinson. I was like, all right, cool. That gives us like hope that we don't got to draft offense first. But so yeah, so I was like, all
Right.
right, here we go. Uh, but my but I'll go, I'll just go ahead and jump in with the draft and mock draft. With my first pick, who I was kind of tied over. It was either Tyler Booker or him, and I'm going with the second mock draft I made, which was going with Matthew Golden. Just Matthew Golden at pick 25. If he's hopefully there. If he's not, then maybe we'll either catch Tyler Booker or not. But so far I got Matthew Golden. But yeah, overall Matthew Golden just a great wide receiver. If it's not a Mecca that we get, we're gonna get Matthew Golden. So I was just seeing what your thoughts are on Matthew Golden.
Matthew Golden is definitely a top receiver in this
Yeah,
draft. If I'm not mistaken, I think he had the fastest 40 time at that with that 4.29.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I do think, especially with the additions and things that have happened this past week with us signing Cam Robinson and signing what you call it earlier today,
yeah.
I
That's crazy,
definitely,
man.
I definitely believe that now that we are trending towards absolutely drafting a receiver in the first round. I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks, and I know you
Mm,
noticed this too. That what I feel like Nick Casario was going to do before free agency started. I feel like what he was going to do was he was going to do a lot in free agency. He was going to
yeah,
add to every part of the room. So therefore, when April comes and we're doing the draft, then we don't have to be desperate for this
yeah.
player, this position, that position. So I definitely believe that that's what he's done. He's
Mm,
added talent in all the rooms, and I do believe that he will go probably the way it's looking right now. It's either going to
mm,
be offensive lineman or wide receiver. And I think it's leaning a little bit slightly towards wide receiver because the only real wide receiver he added was
yeah,
Christian Kirk. I know
yeah,
he added Watkins, he added the other guy from Miami, but I don't
yeah.
really see those as real answers for
Mm,
anything, maybe special teams and stuff like that. So I definitely believe he'll lean a little bit more towards drafting a receiver. So your pick at with Matthew Golden,
yeah. Pick
which is
25.
is a very talented receiver. Strong, fast, good route runner, good with his hands.
Mm,
He's actually from Houston.
yeah, yeah.
He played U of H
Good for
before he
you, H.
transferred
Yeah,
before he transferred to UT. So I definitely believe that he's definitely a receiver that will be on the Texans board. And if he's there at 25, I could definitely see the Texans drafting him unless they happen to move back, like you said.
yeah,
Nick
yeah.
Casario is known to trade. So
My thing is like with Tank Dell mostly gone all the way to even next season. We don't know what's going to happen with that. We don't trust who we have really at wide receiver except for Christian Kirk or even Nico because they've shown who they are. And
right,
I'd rather get a wide receiver right now if he's there for 25 instead of going like into the fourth round hoping for some receiver when we need a number one right now.
right,
To sit next to Nico across the line.
right,
Yeah. Um, Other than that, my next pick will be on pick 55, round two. And I've seen it in our group, in our Discord. Seeing people like fall in love with him. I didn't know him until now, but I'm going with another Texas player, which is for our D line for that D tackle, especially is Alfred Collins. That's what,
right,
yeah, that's what I got there because I know with how we're up, like I said, with upgrading with offensive line, it's kind of like we can push it back a little because we don't need it right now. So going to detail because I know so far we got all we did was sign Sheldon Rankins. He's all right, but I know we're gonna have to upgrade him a bit younger. I know we got Danico Autry, but for me, just going young is gonna be even more powerful, especially with somebody like Alfred Collins. I watched his tape last night and I was like, all right, he's a big guy who'll get that push. He's good bull rusher. So yeah, I was kind of in love with him when I got him mock draft. I was like, all right, this could be the dude. You know, for that defensive line because setting somebody like him on that D tackle line next to Will on the left side, Dan Denio on the right side, no, that's attacking type defense that D'Amico's going to want for that D line especially.
Right. Oh no, I agree, and I do think that going into this off season, I do think that drafting DT is definitely a concern and a plan
Mm,
for Nick Caserio and this Texans defense or the Texans team because DT interior defensive lineman is the only position that Nick Caserio has not added any youth in
yeah.
within the first 3 rounds. We seen the quarterback in CJ, we seen the receivers in Nico and Tank, we
Mm,
seen us even add DP with the running back position. We drafted Fisher last year as a tackle. We
yeah.
drafted what you call this a tight end last year as well. And on the defensive side, obviously we drafted Will, we drafted C. Harris, we brought in Stingley and Petrie and Bullock and Kamar Lassiter, but we
Mm,
have yet to draft or bring in any young DT within the first 3 rounds. I know he brought what you call it in his first draft, but that
yeah.
was like in the fifth round.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
haven't we haven't brought we haven't been able to bring in a DT in the first 3 rounds early in the draft, add some youth and um not experience, but some real talent at
Yeah.
that position. So I could definitely see, and I do think that that's a concern. I mean, depending on what happens in the first round, we might be able to see him go after maybe a Kenneth Graham in the first round,
Mm,
to add in a DT. But I could definitely see us adding in a DT within one of our first 3 picks. So this is actually a good pick as well.
yeah. Yeah. I was going based off of best player available type thing because I know a lot of on those in these early rounds, a lot of offensive linemen are going to get picked. So it's like you got to rely on who's there for right now, especially if somebody like Alfred Collins is there at that spot instead of wasting a pick and hoping he's there on like the third pick, but then watching
Right.
him gone. So it's like might as well just attack it right now, go after what you need because having somebody like Alfred Collins will be great because why sign a D tackle for just 1 year like what we did with Sheldon Rankins? We just signed him for 1 year, so it's like now keep him for more years because he's young. He's going to grow his talent, and who knows? He could be the best run stopper for this defense because we've been having trouble with the run,
Right.
especially with running quarterbacks like Lamar or somebody like Derrick Henry, and that's what we need: just a great D tackle instead of these 1 year contracts with average D tackles or just D tackles that are at their limit at best for what their how their play is currently with us.
Correct.
Yeah. But with the next pick, I picked 79, round three. I went offense line now with the right. I've been hearing like once again in the Discord in the chat, seeing Ray, talk about him. Is that boy Tate Ratledge from Georgia? So
Right.
that was a pick I picked right there because he was right there. I don't want to go farther into the draft. Taking longer to draft offensive line. So somebody like Tate Ratledge, I went ahead drafted him. To me with the guards we have currently, I'm sure he can eventually take their spot, whether it's like 2 games into the season or something. But I've seen his tape too. He's got big hands. He's got a good pull. He can go at their pad level, and he's at 6'6". So he's a big guy. And me, the one thing we've always been talking about, especially on soft sports or anything like that, is we need that white boy on our line. He's one of the white boys. We need that toughness from the white boy on the offensive line, and Tate Ratledge is one of them, straight from Georgia too. So the Georgia's offensive line, they're always compatible. They're always going to the NFL, doing pretty good. So yeah, Tate Ratledge is my next pick on that one.
Nasty.
Mm,
He's a nasty offensive lineman, and that's what we need. We need that intensity. We need that grit. We need that nastiness. I mean, like you said, we talk about it all the time.
yeah,
Like, where's the offensive lineman that sort of walk around
yeah,
and eat dirt all day, or like they just don't mind getting dirty and nasty. Don't mind putting their hands in the dirt
mm,
and basically just completely just manhandling somebody. Previously we had a lot of guys worried about how they look off on the
yeah,
on the
yeah,
sideline versus about getting dirty inside and getting dirty in the trenches, protecting your quarterback, and most importantly, also to help get this running game going. Because
mm,
again, there's a lot of times last year, Joe Mixon got all those rushing yards based off of him
yeah.
because
Based
he
off his
wasn't.
toughness, yeah,
Yeah, because he wasn't getting the help from Bobby Slowick
mm-hmm.
game planning and calling plays, and he damn sure wasn't getting any help from the offensive line blocking. So that's
Mm,
something we definitely need now. I would have liked to get an offensive lineman earlier in the draft. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure
yeah,
depending on how the draft board fell. So it's kind of the reason why you didn't go O line earlier. But this is a good pick as well.
mm,
Like I said, a nasty offensive lineman, guy has that championship level pedigree
yeah,
playing at Georgia. So again, he's been playing big time football, and that's something else that Nick Caserio has always done. He's always drafting somebody that's playing big time football. He
mm,
very rarely, if all at all, drafts someone that doesn't play actual big time football. So I definitely think this is definitely on the board for Nick Caserio as well.
yeah. And with somebody like him for the offensive line, that toughness straight from Georgia too. We know how tough Georgia's players are. like look at Kamari, just a dog, and that's the
Right.
type of people Georgia brings. And the one issue I always had with our offensive line is nobody helps to pick up CJ. Like the only person I seen pick up CJ last year was Justin Patterson, like Jared
Right.
Patterson. When CJ's on the ground or hit late, he's Jared Patterson was the only boy going over there to make CJ's good and make sure CJ was good. Somebody like that's why me when you made your vid about Laramie and all that, like you're live on Laramie, I was like, I'm glad Laramie's gone. He didn't contribute to nothing all about that dog mentality. It was just more of,
Right.
oh, what cleats am I wearing? Oh, how am I looking right now? Oh,
Right.
I don't care about my false starts, anything like that. So somebody young, somebody like a dog who's going to fight to keep their quarterback up. Somebody like who we need, CJ. We need CJ up. Having somebody like him, is gonna be a great pick with going with him, especially with Nick Caley, Cole Bobovich. We don't know how good he's gonna do so far, but we know that they're eyeing down who they want for the offensive line.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. And I mean, just like I think it was the Green Bay Packers game
yeah,
when CJ had got pushed, he was running and he like ran to their sideline,
mhm,
and if I remember, I think it was Jair Alexander like got in his face, and then the
yeah,
rest of the Packer team was just surrounding CJ. No one was over there to get him out.
yeah,
No offensive lineman, Laramie Tunsil, Titus Howard, Kenyon Green, Shaq Mason, Juice. I think was those were the five starters.
yeah, yeah. I
No
think
one
so.
ran over. No one ran over there to get him out.
Mhm,
No one ran over there to get him out. And normally, when your quarterback is on that other sideline and you
mhm,
got people surrounding him, you're over there fighting. That's the type of penalties that I think Texas fans would have been okay with if
yeah, yeah,
Laramie would have went over there and just pushed the mess out of one of those guys on the sideline. We would have took that. It's the false starts. It's the illegal lineman downfield
mhm,
that we got mad at. If you would have did a penalty like that, an aggressive penalty like that, we would have been all for it because you're protecting the quarterback.
yeah,
But that's the type, like I said, that's the type of grit and toughness that we didn't have, or at least that we didn't show outside of Patterson.
yeah,
That's the only
yeah.
person on the offensive line that showed it any time last year.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. And the one thing I always called out, especially on my Laramie Tunsil vid that I made, was it's kind of pathetic when your own team's announcer, like Andre Ware, he's our team announcer. He was talking crap about Laramie. He's like, you're
Every
paid this
game,
much and you're false starting 4 times. How are you going to do that
every
when
game.
you're the leader in false starts? So it's like somebody like Miko and Nick making the decision to get rid of him. That was a great decision because it's like y'all don't want to just look weak compared to Laramie when you're his boss. Y'all need to make that decision. Be like, nah, he's not going to contribute to where we want to go. Type
Right,
situation. So yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, moving on to the next pick, pick 89. What I went with again was a receiver, and once again, this is gonna be
Seen
all.
it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
seen it.
And the reason I went with this boy Isaiah Bond for everybody to know from UT, just got none but UT guys. UT showed out last year with their weapons, but went with the Isaiah Bond. And the reason why I went with Isaiah Bond is he's a potential starter. Honestly, like I seen his tape and all that. So, but I know with somebody like Christian Kirk, Nico, or if we draft Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond will be a good setup man to be right there behind them in case somebody either goes down or something. But also another reason is I'd want Isaiah Bond for that depth because somebody like Mechie or Xavier, to me, they've had enough time to show their worth and they haven't really been showing it too much. Xavier, he's on one. I like Xavier, but I need him to do a little bit better. But Mechie, that's another story that where I feel like he might honestly just get cut past training camp, especially fighting with Justin Watson. The new guys we got Justin Watson, Braxton Berrios, no telling with the undrafted free agents. That's why I'm like with somebody like Azebon, his acceleration is crazy. His escape is good. His catches like he sees the ball, he can go man on man. To me, he's got that speed, and I feel he'll honestly take over where Mechie was supposed to be on this team.
Um, First thing, are you a
Mm.
UT fan?
No, I'm UVH. I'm UVH.
I mean, because according to the way your mock draft look like,
Yeah,
it looks
see,
like you're a UT fan.
you
I
see
mean,
me. I don't like Texas for nothing, especially with the Tom Herman situation back then.
I
But
can't
see,
tell. I can't tell. I really can't. I can't tell because the way my draft
yeah,
looking.
yeah, yeah,
I
got it, got
mean,
it.
you got your first four picks. Three of your
Yeah,
first
see,
four picks are
see,
UT
I
guys.
know. Hey,
I'm like,
listen,
wait.
I had like a bad blood in my mouth whenever I was picking these picks. I was like, oh man, I got number UT in here.
No, this is the thing. Even though, like I said, Matthew Golden had the fastest 40 time in the combine, he with the 4.29.
Mm,
Isaiah Bond was UT's deep threat receiver.
yeah,
So even though on the track from
Mhm.
the way it was graded that Isaiah Bond, that Matthew Golden is faster. But evidently, Isaiah Bond plays faster, and they utilize Isaiah Bond as a deep threat down
Yeah,
the field receiver. If the Texans do draft a receiver in the first round, which I do think they're leaning towards,
yeah,
it would not surprise me if they would go ahead and draft another receiver in the draft. Now, I don't know if they'll draft
mhm.
one in the third round or if they'll jump into the fourth or they draft
Yeah,
one in the
yeah,
fifth or whatever the case may be. It would not surprise me if they draft a receiver early, if they also would draft a receiver late, to your point, because
mhm.
as of right now, there's only two reliable receivers on this team, and that's Nico
Yeah,
Collins and this Christian Kirk. Everybody else, it's like whatever it is you're gonna do.
yeah, yeah,
It's really like that. Like I said, we don't anticipate Tank playing at all this season.
yeah.
Um, like I said, Christian, not Christian, but Watkins and Watson. I
Berea.
mean
Yeah, yeah,
Watson and Barrio. I don't really know. I mean Barrio, I think is a special team guy if
yeah.
he
That's
makes the
yeah, more like a
team.
returner.
Yeah, and then Watson. I mean, Watson was on the Kansas City Chiefs, and
Mm.
the Kansas City Chiefs were more deployed receiver than we were last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the Texans at any time last year, the Texans had at least two receivers. They either
Mhm,
had if it wasn't Stephon Diggs and Tank, it was Nico and Tank until
mhm.
Tank got hurt right before the season ended. So it was only the playoffs that we went into a situation with just Nico.
Yeah,
The Chiefs went the entirety of the season from like week 3 all the way until the season ended with only one receiver, and that was Xavier Worthy.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
reason why they had to trade for Hopkins midway through the season. And Watson was on their roster, and they couldn't utilize him. He didn't make
yeah,
a play. So if he couldn't do a play, if he couldn't make a name for himself in that situation, and then we're
mhm.
talking about Patrick Mahomes, we're not talking about just any random quarterback. We're talking about a
Yeah,
two-time MVP, three-time Super Bowl champion MVP,
mhm.
and he couldn't do anything with him. I don't expect Watson to do anything really in Houston. I just think that he's the body here. Now, to your point about Mechie and Hutchinson,
Mhm.
those guys, I do think that time has ran out and
Yeah,
those experiments are over. If they're here, I definitely think they'll be here during training camp. I
yeah,
don't think that both of them will be here when when the 52 man is being cut and we go into the season. I doubt that both of them is here. There's a
yeah,
great chance that neither one of them is here.
yeah, yeah.
So
My bad too.
I definitely expect if the Texans draft a receiver early on,
Mhm.
they could and potentially might draft a receiver later on as well, unless we sign somebody else
Yeah,
within the next couple of days via free agency, because there's still some names out there, and who knows? I
mhm.
thought Nick was done signing
I
people
thought,
until
yeah,
today.
me too. I thought so too until I woke up this morning and saw that Trent Brown
Right.
signing.
Yes, I thought it was done. I thought we was waiting on the draft. I thought we was done before we even signed Cam Robinson
That's
the other
all,
day.
yeah, me too. Yeah,
So, so those two signings in itself shows me that he's still out here
he's
willing and
aggressive about it.
right, exactly. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they draft. I don't think they'll draft one that early on if they draft a receiver in the first
Mhm.
round. But I mean, like I said, Isaiah Bond is that like was a deep threat at UT. That's what they utilize him as.
Yeah,
And I definitely think that they could definitely make a space for him here in Houston. And also, even though we do have Christian Kirk, and also we got Nico and how everybody feels about Nico,
mhm.
Christian Kirk for the last 2 seasons has missed a lot of times,
Yeah, I
and
seen that.
Nico has yet to play a full season himself. So receiver is definitely a need here in Houston.
Mhm. Yeah, like I know everybody's more saying, "Oh, go get your offensive line," but for us, main thing's always been receiver with injuries, with health. Like, who do we like? CJ's rookie year, we lost Tank. Who was by himself? Nico, just by himself. Next year,
Right.
we got Stephon. We had Tank back. Boom, both of them gone. It's kind of like, dude, we need more depth. It's sad to say that all our receivers are always hurt, especially Nico. He's missed a couple games this year, but he was still strong and healthy once he came back. The same him. We don't know how Tank's going to return, so it's like instead of waiting for next year, we need to go get them receivers right now, and it might hurt in the end, a couple years later, that if we got to say we got to get rid of Tank because of his health issues, if his injuries, because we don't know how he's going to recover from this injury. So
Right.
somebody, and if say we keep one of either Mechie or Xavier, I think they'd keep Xavier because he's shown his worth. Mechie over there fumbling on the first play of the Chargers game, which had
Exactly.
me like, oh, we lost this game because of
Right.
who? Mechie. How he said in Saw Sports Sketchy Mechie. So yeah, somebody like that. But bringing in somebody like Isaiah Bond, young, if say Nico's, pray to God if, that Nico don't get hurt. But say if Isaiah Bond needs to step up, say like I said, say if we get Matthew Golden and Isaiah Bond, them two as weapons for CJ, they'll just connect well like they did with UT itself. So I feel like if we get somebody like Isaiah Bond, then it'll correlate well no matter what with the what
Right.
because I've seen that he's top 10 in receiving. The standings of the draft. They listed him as number 10 on best wide receivers.
Right.
Yeah. Uh, but moving on with that one, on round five, pick 166, I went defense, and I mainly and I went corner, and that's that boy Zaya Alexander from LSU. I've seen a lot of good tape from him. He's good on them. He's honestly good on man-to-man routes. He's good with his hands. He don't lose track of his receiver. Like a lot of tape I've seen, he didn't get beat a lot at all. And
Right.
and the reason I drafted a corner was because yeah, we signed somebody like Ronald Darby. We got they're saying that we got Jalen coming back at nickel, but to me, I'd rather have another cornerback just ready in case somebody like Jalen gets hurt or Ronald Darby can't do his job. But nickel's our main spot. But somebody like Zy Alexander, I know he can play outside, play inside of the nickel. But nickel is honestly where we've been struggling at the most too as well. So somebody like Zy Alexander, I've seen state from LSU. I know he'll correlate good with Derek Stingley being from LSU. So yeah, that's one of the the deep picks I know where if the cornerback is there, a good one like someone like Zy Alexander, I know we'll just go ahead and draft him, just have depth at that corner spot.
I was surprised that he fell that far to you to fall to the
Yeah,
fifth
and
round.
honestly, on both mock drafts I made, he was there at the same spot.
Wow, I'm
Yeah,
surprised he actually fell that far
yeah,
in both those cases. I've been saying this for years. I don't care if your starting corners are Jalen Ramsey and Darrell Revis, and your safeties are Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu. Every single draft, you need to draft a DB. It doesn't matter if it's a corner or safety. Every single draft, you
yeah,
need to bring in a DB in some part of the draft. It doesn't have to be first round. It doesn't have to be the second round, third round, just unique because DBs are constantly on the field. Now, even though last year Stingley, I think if I'm not mistaken, Stingley played 100% of the snaps up until that last game against
mm,
Tennessee, where we basically was like getting everybody breaks and stuff like that.
yeah,
I think Stingley played the majority of the snaps. He didn't really come out too much. I know he didn't miss any games.
mhm,
And let's see why he ended up winning All Pro and he was able to get that bag that he was able to get earlier this week. But you corners and DBs in general are always interchangeable. They're always on the field. They're always switching out, and so you always need depth. And then also injury histories. I mean,
yeah,
I like Kamari Lassiter. Kamari Lassiter played well last year, but he missed time twice in two
yeah,
different
yeah,
instances. And then outside of this past year, I mean, Stingley has only played a healthy season twice.
mhm,
2019, his freshman year at LSU, and then this past season. So you definitely will always need DBs. Him going to LSU pedigree, LSU
yeah,
is considered as one of the schools is considered a DBU. LSU and also Ohio State are always
mhm,
producing both good receivers and good DBs. Both programs are, and kind of see it's kind of funny how both of those positions, DBs and receivers, mirror each other,
yeah,
and
yeah,
both of those programs constantly put out good production at both sides of the football
mhm,
on both accords. But yeah, you definitely need to add another DB into this room. And you're right, we need someone to play in that slot position.
yeah,
Um, when it comes to Petrie, that's probably the best. Like that nickel star position is the best position for Petrie. Petrie is a liability when he's out here playing safety, playing
mhm,
free safety. He's a liability in coverage. That was part of the problem in 2023.
yeah, yeah,
So that position that we found him in and we used him in last year before he got hurt was had Petrie looking like a good nickel player. So
yeah,
I do think that's the right position for him, and that's the right position going forward. And again, all the talent that you have around him now with Stingley, with
mhm,
Lassiter,
yeah,
with Bullet. Now you add in CJ Gardner
CJ, yeah,
Johnson, and then you have the pass rush with Neil and Will coming off the edges. That also will help him. So again, I think Zay will feel right on in
mhm,
and and I definitely think that it'll be a seamless transition. He can fit right on in, and I do think he can find this. He can find spots. I mean, we seen uh, um, what you call it, Aaron Murray play well in Spurs last year,
oh yeah, yeah,
and I would rather have him out there than have Jeff Okuda or Miles Bryant like we did
yeah,
last year.
or
So I
even Jimmy
definitely
Ward,
think
like man, that's another player I don't even
exactly.
want to. Yeah,
Exactly, but if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy was still under contract, so he's still
yeah,
going to be here. So I do think they can find a place for him. So I definitely
mhm,
think that is a good decision. Like I said, every year, if it's up to me, I'm drafting a DB in every single draft in some capacity. So you got one in the fifth round.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. moving on from that, just because from that defense gonna be just scary coming in. No, everybody's kind of got us underrated. Like, yeah, the defense was great last year. Everybody saw, but they still kind of like talked down on our defense. But this
Right.
upcoming year, this defense is gonna be something else, something special, honestly, with D'Amico. Uh, but moving on to round six, pick 236. Me, I mainly didn't know drafts because I don't know what Nick Casario is going to do at all. Like, this is one of the drafts where I'm like, I don't know whether he's going to move up or move down. This is going to be the most special draft to me because of what we need overall. But
Mhm.
going to this pick, I went ahead and went with guard again. That was this boy Connor Colby from Iowa. To me, I seen a lot of film, and it's just picking the position of need at this one pick. And to me, it was Connor Colby for that right guard position. Uh, honestly, I've seen his film. He struggles a lot. Yeah, but to me, he kind of seems like, oh, we'll just throw him at special team unless he grows his talent. But yeah, for me, for Connor Colby, honestly, he's just a position of need for a guard. Yeah, we signed quite a few guards like Lakin Tomlinson and I forgot the other dude's name. But yeah, just signing one of them too, just seeing how good they progress, seeing who can step up the line because we don't even know how this line's going to look. We could have
Right.
Cam Robinson at left, Titus at left guard, Justin Patterson, right guard being Tate Radledge, and right tackle Blake Fisher. We don't know how it's going to go. So just draft
Right.
that basic right guard deep into the draft, round six, and they're not going to be always great. So if he's somebody like special team, he's just there for a backup piece with that boy Connor Colby.
I just think just adding to the room,
Yeah,
something like last year, we went to last season, they went to the off season, they went to training camp, and came into the season, and Laramie, Juice,
mm,
Kenyon, Shaq Mason, and Tyus Howard were all guaranteed positions.
yeah,
Obviously, Titus and Laramie because you paid them, so I got that one. But Juice, Kenyon, they shouldn't have been guaranteed their position.
nah, yeah,
Those
no,
guys, those guys should have been in there battling for their position,
mm,
like a Kamari. Kamari earned his position.
yeah,
Kamari came into training camp, and because I think penciled in was the starter opposite Stingley, if I'm not mistaken, was Jeff Okuda.
yeah, it was.
Pencil
Yeah, I remember that.
was penciled in, and Kamari came in there and just outplayed everybody.
Yeah. Mhm.
And they were like, okay, this guy's the next corner. Same thing with Tank the year before.
Yeah.
Tank came in and outplayed everybody in camp, and Tank
Mhm.
worked his way up into being the starting receiver opposite Nico. Like Nico and Tank earned their spots the previous season.
Yeah.
CJ earned his spot the previous season. Will earned his spot. Same thing. And this your offensive lineman last year didn't. It was like that was the only position group that guys did not earn their position. Like we seen the starter in Christian Harris the previous year play well in the
Mhm.
2023 season and basically got his spot took by Total Otis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like because so we didn't get that same level of competition when it came to the offensive line. And that's why I think now this year with all the moves that you made, trading
Mhm.
away, the only person who really, I guess, quote unquote, deserved a guaranteed spot in Laramie Tunsil because he is he's a five-time Pro Bowler, highest
Yeah.
paid left tackle, or one of the highest paid left tackles.
Yeah.
So again, it makes sense that he's penciled in as a starter, but nobody else should have been. And
Mhm.
now I think with what you've done via the offseason and according to and then what you're doing with the draft,
Yeah.
absolutely what we're doing. We've got all these offensive linemen here, and y'all gonna battle.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
battle to see who's going to get these five stars. We got five chairs, and we
Mhm.
got 25 people competing for those five chairs. Y'all gonna decide. We don't have to decide. Y'all are going to decide who gets to sit down at these chairs.
Yeah.
And
With that,
then,
yeah. No, I was gonna say with all these off seasons that we've always had, this is the first off season where I'm like, we have a lot of depth. I'm not gonna lie, we
right,
have plenty of depth for no matter what position you want to talk about. But
right,
offensive line is the deepest one, and you have media and other and some Texan fans and just different media they want to talk crap about Texans about, oh, what are y'all doing for the offensive line? You see who we're signing, you see how much we're bringing in, and it's not just, oh, we don't care about CJ. You see, no matter what the name is, you can say a name, but they're still gonna change your mind once you see how they play. So
right,
people want to say like, oh, that offensive line is average. Watch them come out and play their ass off for CJ for this team because they know where we want to get to. We don't know how Kopovich will do for the offensive line, but they know a reason why we kept Kopovich was because they believe that he'll upgrade this offensive line for where we want to be.
right.
But we can't always have a offensive line like the Eagles over there.
Right.
Yeah, and moving on with that, with final pick, round let me see, round 7, pick 241. This is gonna honestly, just because he's a liked player, this is gonna be a hurt one for some Texas fans. But for me, I've decided to go with a replacement for Damian Pierce. I went with Raheem Sanders from South Carolina. I'm surprised he even dropped that far. Raheem Sanders, to me, I seen, like I said, seen his tape. He was great passing back. To me, he seems like a great backup for Joe Mixon. He's got the speed on him. His vision was good. To me, like I love Damian Pierce, but I honestly don't know what happened to him since that rookie year, that great rookie year. But I don't want Joe Mixon having too much tread on his tires like every single play. Because who did we have last year? We had Dare, we had Damian, like honestly, there's just players that you couldn't trust to get more yardage because all they're gonna get is like 1 or 2 yards and that's it. But somebody like Raheem Sanders, he'll get his yardage. He's got the vision. He'll make his pad level's great for when he wants to shed blocks. So having somebody like Raheem Sanders backing up to Joe Mixon is a great target, a great weapon for CJ in case we need to put Joe Mixon on the bench in case he's tired or something because Joe Mixon did way too much for yeah, we paid him a lot. I mean, he deserves every play, but he doesn't deserve to just be like hit every single play. So yeah, having a good backup for him like Raheem Sanders, that's why I went ahead and drafted him. I'm surprised he fell that far because he's a great running back. But to me, I'm kind of on the same boat with Damian Pierce as I am with Mechie. Like their years are just we give him enough years.
Right. Um. Yeah. This is the thing about DP.
Yeah,
I wonder if he was the tallest small person
yeah,
because he looked good on a team that just wasn't good and competitive in the
yeah,
2022 Houston Texans. It's like so it seems like once you start upgrading and elevating the talent around him, you
mm,
start seeing his shortcomings and you start seeing that maybe he's not all that good unless it's a perfect situation. And who knows? Again, now we're hiring Nick Caley, and we're going away from the zone read. And
yeah,
I think that was something in the zone running scheme. So I think that was a lot that was wrong with DP. I think a lot of DP's problems was that he just couldn't hit the holes. He couldn't
yeah,
read the holes. He couldn't read the holes. He couldn't run through the hole. I just think he had a problem clarifying what his assignment was.
mm,
But to your point about Joe Mixon, the type of running back Joe Mixon just doesn't come off the field.
yeah, yeah,
He didn't come off the field in Cincinnati either. Like
mm,
when he's on the field, he's on the field. But I agree, we do need to spare him, and we do need to get
yeah,
another running back. I would have liked for you to got a running back early in the draft.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's a running joke in the Discord that every mock draft I do, I draft a running back out of Kansas, Devin
yeah,
Neal. I always draft him in the fourth round. I do think that that's when the Texans need to get a running back in
mm,
that third to fifth round range. Like
yeah,
when we get, because especially now that we have two third round picks. So if we don't use those third round picks, I do think that we'll probably end up using those third round picks to jump up in the
yeah,
second
yeah,
round. But if we don't, if we stick and pick, if we keep all our picks, if we don't move around, which is highly unlikely when it
yeah,
comes to Nick Casario, I believe that from that second, third pick, all the
mm,
way to the fifth round, that's when you need to get a running back because we need to actually get a legitimate running back
yeah,
and a guy, not a guy, because normally when you get guys in the sixth and the seventh round, wide receivers, running back, stuff like that, a
yeah,
lot of those guys typically are for special teams.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
every now and again, you can get some guys that end up being superstars. I mean, hey, Arian Foster was an undrafted free agent.
yeah,
Like so you can get superstars in those Rams. That has happened. But more than likely, when you draft those positions, especially the running back position in the third and fourth round, you're drafting a major player. And I do think that we need to put in a major player at running back to help out Joe Mixon and to
mm,
help out this team. Because I agree, I don't know how much longer DP is going to be on this team. I
yeah,
don't know. I know that they like him.
yeah, yeah,
I know that they like him a lot, and that's really why he was able to remain on the team as long as he has. But he's really not giving you anything,
yeah.
and I do believe that they definitely need to replace him.
Yeah, and the reason, like, whenever I hear you say, like, well, like, that's the reason. That's one of my reasons why I was agreeing with the Tunsil trade. Why I agreed with, if certain cuts were made is because Tunsil was a leader just because he was well liked. Damian Pierce is on the team because he's well liked. And me, it's like the well liked stuff got to get out the building because we need the talent there. We need your full potential there, not just you're there because you're well liked. Like Damian, we mainly saw him returning the ball, not running the ball. So and
Right.
to me he did well for his return game,
Right.
but for Joe Mixon, we need a good solid backup for him. Like me, I fell in love with Detroit's duo. Somebody like the Eagles,
Right.
yeah, they have Saquon because he's a great running back, just great all around. He's not
Right.
going to get stopped. But somebody like the Lions, I want to, in a way, recreate the Lions of how they're doing their duo. Like it's like, oh, you stopped our one guy. Well, we got our backup right here, the 1-2 punch, Sonic and Knuckles. So yeah, so
Right.
adding a backup running back for Joe Mixon will be nice. But we'll see as it goes. But I'm the same path as you. Like I don't know where this draft is going to go. Nick Casario can move up in the first round, move back at the first round, go to the second round with an early picks. So that that's why I'm like, with this draft, it's just a draft of players I see who I'd love to have on the team, like
Right.
Matthew Gordon, Isaiah Bond, anything like that. But we'll see as the draft comes up because it's crazy that this offseason went fast to me. Like the draft is just next month. Like that's what's crazy
Right.
to me. So yeah,
Right.
but other than that, that was my mock draft. I just want to get somebody like your opinion because I love to listen to your talk. I love to watch. That's why I was like really happy for you to join me. So I'm always grateful for that, man.
No problem, man. No problem. Anytime you welcome to have me on, hey, I'm willing
You
to
cut
come
off.
on, man.
You had cut off for a few seconds.
Oh, I said, man, hey, no problem. Anytime you willing to have me on, I'm willing to come on, man. Great
Yeah.
sports talk, man.
Yeah. Like and now, like for me, through all the way since 2017, I was always watching Soft Sports with Ed Honcho, Wink Tenney, you Wise, I've always been a part of it. And so I just started with JDW, and for me, I love bringing in the guys that I've watched. So yeah, so coming up with this draft, we'll more likely do a live me and JDW. So if you're free, we'll more likely invite you over too, just to like
I
because
appreciate it.
I would love to do a live reaction to how this draft's gonna go.
I appreciate it. No problem, man. Hey, whenever y'all have y'all able to go live and stuff, hey, just let me know in advance, and we could definitely make something happen, man.
Yeah. But once again, thank you everybody for watching. Spitz, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Spitz, the definition of throw. But the easiest way to do is put Spitz 389. You put Spitz 389, my YouTube channel will pop up. You can also follow me on Instagram. That's Spitz 389 underscore. And Spitz is spelled SPITZ. And then also on Twitter, Spitz 389 YouTube on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So follow me on those social media accounts and then go to my channel, Spitz 389. And again, all type of sports talks. I go live. I got pre-recorded videos as well. So make sure y'all check them out.
Yeah. But once again, thank you everybody for watching. Thanks Spitz for being a part of this. We're gonna come up with more videos, more topics, especially with this draft coming up next month. It's crazy that it's just next month already. But yeah, I'm
Right.
excited for the thoughts. I'm excited for it all. But yeah, I'll catch y'all later. Everybody have a great night. Thank y'all for watching this video. Share, subscribe, comment, like, and just show this channel love and show Spitz channels love because we're all doing this together as Texan fans.
Already.